Greetings everyone, this is Mythical Daka bringing to you from my library Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. It's a third-person shooter developed by Relic Entertainment of Dawn of War fame and published by THQ. And I have to say it's actually pretty good. The campaign mode, which I won't actually be showing you on this video, you play as Captain Titus of the incredibly lame Ultramarines chapter. I have to say, though, that he's the only Ultramarine that I respect. He's captain of the Ultramarine 2nd Company in this universe, so it's obviously a non-canon game, for those of you who are familiar with the lore. I'm going to be showing you some multiplayer, though, assuming I can find a game. I have to say, unfortunately, the multiplayer has kind of died off a bit. Partly due to the bankruptcy of THQ, but they weren't really supporting the game very well in the first place, or at least I didn't feel they were. The campaign is very good, but very short, and the multiplayer is somewhat lacking. It started off with just your typical team deathmatch and domination modes, and they added a capture the flag mode for free. Then they added, you can actually see here, this is Exterminatus mode, also for free. This is a cooperative mode where 4 players team up to take down wave after wave of orcs and eventually Chaos Space Marines. Then weirdly, they released the Chaos Unleashed DLC, which was the same thing, but with Chaos Space Marines. Or rather, the players can play Chaos Space Marines. And that one costs money. I believe it was a $10 DLC. Maybe slightly justified in that they added new maps. But I didn't think it was worth it to go out and buy $10 worth of DLC when it's just a cosmetically different mode for the most part. Then they added, as a paid DLC, Dreadnought Assault mode, where I believe there's like a point that control point rather that the teams have to try to capture, and when a team captures it, one of their players is randomly respawned as a dreadnought. Which, for those of you who are not familiar with this, see these handsome gentlemen standing right here? They're about 8 feet tall and about probably close to a ton, wearing all that armor with all that gear. Dreadnought makes them look small. It's actually basically a zombie robot space marine, with the chassis being the size of a small tank, with firepower to match. That might actually be worth picking up, but I haven't actually done it yet myself, so I can't really go into too much detail on it. Anyway, one of the nice things about this is that, taking a cue from the tabletop game, as they are known to do in video games, is you can actually customize your characters. Now, right here, these are the actual armors that I have set up. Excuse me. The gentleman here on the left is a Space Marine of the Crimson Fist chapter, and the handsome dude on the right here is a Chaos Space Marine, rather, of the World Eaters. Now, the reason you generally have 2 armors set up like this is because you don't actually get to pick which team you're on when you play the versus modes. You're randomly put on one side or the other, so you won't always get to play as a Space Marine or a Chaos Marine, depending on what your preference is. The server's going to determine that for you. And the way they're outfitted here, I mean, this guy is pretty much just a standard tactical Chaos Marine. While this guy is an Assault Space Marine with a Thunderhammer. He's got the jump pack to move in and out of battle, quickly. And that's actually weaponized as well, but maybe we'll get into that during gameplay. So, this is where you can set up your war gear and your appearance. generally have 3 default loadouts, one for Tactical Marine, which generally has some balance of melee combat and ranged combat. This guy's packing a Storm Bolter, which is a rapid-fire bolter with 2 barrels, and a Melta Gun, which is technically an anti-tank weapon, but for the purposes of this game, it's a shotgun. He's got frag grenades, and then there are these perks that you can pick up. Weapon versatility, serrated combat blade. This gives him some extra close combat damage, and weapon versatility. I think that's what allows him to carry these 2 different weapons. Then you have the Devastator, which is built for long-range firepower, and it actually has fairly high survivability. This is my personal favorite weapon in the game, the Heavy Bolter, and frag grenades. And then he's got the Heavy Bolter expertise, which lets him get into his heavy weapon stance a little bit quicker. So he's actually basically he just sets up so that he's better supported, so he can fire full-on rapid fire on that thing. And the Heavy Bolter coolant lets him shoot longer. And then the Assault Marine, these are the close combat guys. He's got a Thunder Hammer, he's got a Bolter from the True Grit perk here, frag grenades, and Final Vengeance. And what that means is if I die with this guy, his jump pack is going to go critical and explode. And then eventually you'll unlock other loadout slots. As you can see, I've got different setups. Got another Tactical Marine here with a plasma gun, which is a little more high-powered than the bolter is, but you got to keep an eye on the heat generated. These things tend to burn a little bit. And then the Stalker Bolter, which is basically a sniper rifle. Got another Devastator here with a laser cannon. This is actually an anti-vehicle weapon, and is typically mounted on vehicles, just to show you how badass the Space Marines are. And then I've got this guy with a power axe and a plasma pistol, and the plasma cannon that I'm actually quite terrible with on here. And this dude's got a chainsword, which is really one of the most inherently cool weapons ever devised. And then you can set up different appearances for your, you get up to 5 armor slots, basically. Now, they're just cosmetically different. There's no real gameplay difference between them. This is the Space Wolves armor that I like to use. That's actually my favorite chapter, but that's a story for another day. The Salamanders, Black Templars, Crimson Fists, and Raven Guard. And then for chapter armor sets, this is the Ultramarines Champion armor. This is unlocked from beating the single-player campaign. And then the rest of these are available as DLC. These guys are actually literally zombie Space Marines here. And there's the Space Wolves again. That's actually more typical of what Space Wolves armor might look like. For those of you in the know, you can see clearly this guy is actually a Bloodclaw, which is a low-ranking Space Wolf. And then same thing with Chaos Marines. But they tend to be spiky to show how evil they are. I think this is Iron Warriors. And this is World Eaters. These are my favorite Chaos Marines. And this is Black Legion. I honestly don't remember who these guys are. And I think this is Death Guard. And then they have Warband armor sets. This is the Chosen of Nemeroth. These are actually a warband created specifically for the game. You face them in the single-player mode. And then you have these Iron Warriors with the safety lines on them. It's actually a pretty nice-looking set of armor there. Emperor's Children, Alpha Legion, Death Guard. Alright, so enough of that. Let's see if I can find a game. I pretty much exclusively play Annihilation, which is the team deathmatch mode. And again, this is the slight problem right now, is that it can be difficult to actually find a game. They don't actually have dedicated servers in the game. It's all peer-to-peer. Alright, now we're finally getting into a game here. I had to pick C's ground because this seems to be what people actually play. It's alright. I like my heavy bolter. It can be used defensively here. And actually it looks like it's going incredibly well for us. A little too well. Yay, we won. And here's the current status of my my account. Some stuff is unlocked through leveling up, other stuff is unlocked through killing stuff. Alright, here we go. Only disappointment with the heavy bolter and multiplayer is dumbed down from the single player mode. And this is what we run into with peer-to-peer hosting. Oh, now I'm suddenly on Chaos. I thought I was on Space Marines. Oh well. Moving up. And that's what happens when you stay in one place too long sometimes. I'll just stick to my heavy bolter for the time being. Just spray and pray. Because I have no tactical sense whatsoever. New player. Usually new players are the only ones wearing regular ultramarine armor. Surprised there are new players. Looks like I got killed from behind the rock. Whatever. I can tell you in Universe you're probably not going to see too many World Eater Havocs because they're usually very melee oriented. Really? Alright. Time to change tactics here. Ooh, I don't think I want that. here's what jump packs can do. Kind of want to... Okay, well, I kind of gimp myself here. You don't really want to hem yourself in like this. A little better off out in the open. Yeah, I get a little swing happy sometimes. Probably not going to last long enough to actually capture this. Case in point, Thunderhammer. One of the slight differences between Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines get a power axe. Chaos Marines get a chain axe. So yes, it wasn't enough to combine a chainsaw with a sword, we also had to combine it with an axe. Let's see how all this goes. Generating health, only a multiplayer. Single player, you have to kill stuff. Oops. So I'm not having my best game. That's alright. I believe the level cap is 41. I'm currently sitting at 30. Ow. And I'm about to die. Yep. There we go. Alright, let's try tactical. I usually don't like to play tactical because I lack the firepower of the Devastator / Havoc and the melee of the Assault or Raptor. And so I tend to not do well against either. But I think I mentioned I'm terrible. Ouch. That would be a power sword. Power sword, I believe, is a DLC weapon. I think you actually got it from pre-ordering, but they made it available on DLC afterwards. They've got a nice little feature where they let you copy the loadout of the person that killed you, so even if you're a newbie to the game... Oh yeah, Tactical Marines get this little combat roll. But even if you're a newbie to the game, you can try out some of the upcoming weapons and not be totally gimped by the fact that you only have a bolter. Oops. And in my case, because I don't have any of the DLC, that's the only way I could play with a power sword. Yeah, I don't have a jump pack. I can't dodge that. Oh well. But it is quite a bit of fun, especially if you're a fan of Warhammer 40,000, and in particular a fan of Space Marines. Ouch. respawned at the spawn point a little closer to the front lines, but let's see. Open up with a heavy bolter, sure as heck gets people's attention. Ow. I thought I'd get credit for some of that. Oh well. Ooh. Yeah, that went badly. Unfortunately, as a Devastator, you really have no mobility. This is about it. You get this little shoulder charge. And your melee consists of... oh, kick. And unfortunately, up against an Assault Marine, you're not going to last too long. Unless they happen to land right in front of you, right in your line of fire, and hopefully you're not using a plasma cannon because you'll kill yourself too. A little bit of a double-edged sword. Hey, alright, I got one. Looks like he's got a storm bolter. Yeah, in the single-player mode, the only heavy bolters that you get are ones that are already on emplacements that the regular army, the Imperial Guard, happens to be using. He got me. Oh well. I got him first. And you can either shoot from the emplacement, or because you're a big badass Space Marine captain, you can just rip it off the emplacement and carry it around and use it until you run out of ammunition. And it will rip entire armies apart. At least for the 400 or so rounds that you get. This guy's just kind of camping out here. Ugh. I think I kind of stepped right into it. Maybe I ought to put my Iron Halo on next time. Iron Halo increases your armor. Something only Devastators and Havocs can use. The Havoc version being the Chaos icon. And you can survive a straight-on Plasma Blast. But that's Space Marine multiplayer. I quite enjoy it. I don't play it very much anymore because there just isn't much multiplayer action going on. It shows all the bonuses you've gotten, which is nice. Bonus points are always good. And like a loadout slot at level 35. But that's enough of that for now. Leave the matchmaking process. Here's where you can look up your stats. These little challenges here. Obviously, I don't use my bolt pistol very often. Since I haven't even gotten 15 kills to get the Adept. It's the weakest weapon you can get. Weakest range weapon, anyway. I don't use my plasma pistol very much, but obviously a little bit more than the bolt pistol. This is the regular bolter, which I also have not used very much. There's the storm bolter. This is the stalker pattern bolter. Vengeance launcher is kind of a grenade launcher. It shoots these kind of sticky grenades, and you can remote detonate them, I believe. Don't use the plasma gun. I don't use the melta gun. And here's the heavy bolter. You can see I've racked up quite a few kills with these. Over 250 enemies, and I've racked up 30 kill streaks with it. A few kills with the plasma cannon, but I tend to kill myself just as much. That's actually more than I thought with the laser cannon. Or las cannon. Not really sure. For me, it's laser cannon, truncated to laser cannon. But I hear a lot of people pronounce it las cannon. You see, I use the power axe quite a bit more often than anything else. I tried using the thunder hammer, but it's the same deal as the heavy bolter. It got dumbed down for multiplayer mode, just that you're not one-shotting everyone that it breathes on. But that's Space Marine multiplayer. It's available on Steam for currently $29.99. Please, by all means, go out and get it and help bring back the multiplayer on this thing. Unfortunately, there won't be any more features, partly because of the bankruptcy of THQ, and partly because I think they just gave up on it in the first place. Really their own fault, because they didn't release enough multiplayer modes to begin with. But I still quite enjoy playing it every now and then. I generally prefer Annihilation, but I'll do some Siege Ground once in a while. I don't think I played Capture the Flag yet. And there are a few DLC items that I think are worth getting. Some of them are only $1. I know the Space Wolves and Salamanders armor are packaged together in a $1 DLC, and that's probably worth a look if you happen to like either one of those chapters. But yeah, hopefully maybe there's some way we can revive this, but I doubt it at this point. Hopefully there's some more great 40K games coming down the pipeline, because this was actually really good. A little short, but packed quite a bit of awesome in there. I'm debating if I'm going to do a single-player video or not, but we'll see what the future holds. Anyway, my name is Mythical Daka, and I will see you next time.